9. She's rather bookish. This might come as a surprise to some of you, but Natalie Dormer actually loves to read and learn new things. She has talked on a couple of occasions about this, particularly regarding her early years. Back when she was a youth, she was really into reading and took her studies quite seriously. It wasn't just that she was good at what she did, she wanted to be the absolute best out there. In interviews where she discussed this, she has made comments about how her studies in school as a kid helped her in becoming the actress she is today. That doesn't mean everything was rosy, but it definitely was interesting. This is something that I find quite easy to relate to, so I guess some of y'all will do so as well. 10. She stopped acting for almost a year. A lot of people might not know this, but Ms. Dormer took some time off acting. During that time she did some working-class jobs, like waiting tables. She's said on a couple of occasions that she is thankful for this point in her career because it really motivated her and inspired her to keep on the path that she was on. She wanted to be a starlet so bad and she put her work in. During this time of waiting tables, she thought a lot about where she was in life, something we all can easily relate to. The former Queen Marguerite is really a lot like us. She isn't some sort of ivory statue in a high tower, she's just a normal person. 11. She knows how to use a sword. Not going to lie, this is probably my favorite entry on this list. She takes part in my favorite sport. Natalie Dormer is quite athletic, being an avid runner, but she is also a member of the highly prestigious London Fencing Academy. Although Olympic-style fencing is not the same as sword fighting, the skills that you learn in the sport will definitely help when you have choreographed sword fighting scenes. From what I have found, there isn't any mention of which weapon she uses. Something tells me that her weapon of choice is a saber. This is only an assumption based on her roles in film and television, so you know what they say about assuming things. No matter which weapon she uses, this woman has got to have some sort of skill to be at the London Fencing Academy. 12. She's a good sport with bloopers. By now, most of us are probably familiar with the infamous and accidental kiss shared with Jennifer Lawrence, but that is just one example of how good of a sport Natalie Dormer is with bloopers. In fact, if you ever watch blooper reels, she never really gets mad about anything, she just goes into hysterical laughing fits. It's great that she is able to take everything on the chin like that. To some, she seems like a person who is not very easy to get to know or as someone who is extremely serious, but that just isn't the case. Natalie Dormer is pretty much just a regular person, but, for some reason, people can't seem to process that aspect about her. 13. Creepy crawlies and fish. We all have fears. That's a pretty normal thing and it should be no surprise that actresses like Natalie Dormer have them, too. In the case of this English actress, her fears surround snakes, insects, spiders, and deep-sea fish. These are pretty common fears and, as a result, they kind of humanize her. Natalie Dormer discussed this in an interview where she prefaced it with her love of camping. It must have been difficult when filming The Forest, considering that these phobias can be somewhat paralyzing. Thankfully, she finds the humor in her situations. During the filming of her horror film, The Forest, in Serbia, she remarked that she was a mosquito's favorite, and that she survived the whole ordeal by eating M&M candies. 14. She was offered a spot at Cambridge University. Her smart and bookish disposition has saved her on more than one occasion. It's done her so well in life that Cambridge University invited her to study history. This woman is absolutely brilliant and possesses a quick enough wit to prove it. For the uninitiated on how great Cambridge University happens to be, your author would die of a heart attack if they were to send him an invitation to study there for zero cost. You'd have thought Dormer would have chosen to go. It had been her dream as a kid to go. But no, she elected to go into the acting world instead, foregoing her childhood dream for a new ambition. The good news is that she is happy with what she is doing, and we, the audience, are as well. 15. Who inspired her take on Margaery? Margaery Tyrell is one of those characters in Game of Thrones who was surprisingly polarizing. She was a powerful enemy to the interests of the Queen Mother in her ambitions, but who really inspired her? The short answer would be powerful and respected women in the world. The long answer: Kate Middleton and Michelle Obama were the major inspirations behind the character. Natalie Dormer brought her own vision of what the Lady Tyrell was like, seeking to give her as much of a sense of how she would act in her feudal situation. She wanted to make the character as much a woman of state as possible. She did a great job at doing that. It's unfortunate that we didn't get more time with her,